On the day I wrote If I Could Switch Bodies with You, I was in a mental health treatment center in Indiana, 6 hours away from my home. It was sometime in July of 2024. I was there because I was severely depressed. The treatment center I went to, it's a 30-day program, and during the first week you're there, you're not allowed any phone calls. And then throughout the next few weeks, you are allowed roughly 3 phone calls a week that last 10 to 15 minutes. So during one of those phone calls, my mom was telling me that my dad had fallen down the stairs and hit his head on the concrete wall and didn't go to the doctor. I was like, why didn't he go to the doctor? He could have internal bleeding or something wrong with him that happened, or a concussion or something like that. And she said he just didn't want to, and he doesn't feel like he needs to go. So that really frustrated me at the time, because my dad is obviously very near and dear to me. But not only that, he's 85 years old and really doesn't need to be falling down the stairs, you know what I'm saying? So I was pretty frustrated that he didn't go to the doctor to see if anything was wrong. Right after I got off the phone, I was pretty upset, and I was telling my friends at the treatment center, like, my dad literally fell down the stairs, hit his head on the concrete wall, and did not go to the doctor, and doesn't know if he's okay or got something deeper going on, and it makes me scared. And so I was so focused on that and so worried about that. That's all I could think about. And one of the coping mechanisms that they had drilled into me, I'm kidding, it's one of my favorite coping mechanisms that I picked from a list of about 400 coping mechanisms, was journaling. So I went outside and sat on the concrete, laid on the concrete actually. I'm a big fan of sitting down and laying down in random spots. So that's what I did. I went outside and started what I thought was journaling. And almost every line I wrote down rhymed. And that's how I wrote If I Could Switch Bodies with You. I remember having a few really close friends at the treatment center that I shared this song with. And I sang it for them. I was really nervous, and they all loved it, and it's a really cool memory for me because it was right after I wrote it. I was not used to getting up and singing in front of people or getting up and making a speech in front of people. So in that treatment center, I really put a lot of work into myself, not only mentally and spiritually, but with my music as well. That's really when it was first born. And with me being able to sing If I Could Switch Bodies with You right after I wrote it to basically strangers I had met 15, 10, 20 days prior, it was really special for me that I mustered up the courage to do that. Throughout that treatment center, I was also doing karaoke for the first time in years, and getting my voice back and writing other songs. If I Could Switch Bodies with You was not the only song that was written in that treatment center either. I wrote a song that's going to be on a future EP that is extremely near and dear to me, specifically because one of the residents in that treatment center helped write a lyric for me. I loved it. I wrote it down. I kept it. I put his name in my notebook, and it became a part of the song. I recorded it and everything, and it's set in stone. So that means so much to me. Like, community means so much to me. People coming together and putting in their opinions and hearing it first and hearing little tidbits and seeing it all really come together from sometime in July 2024 to now, August 2026. And I think that's really special. We were not allowed to have phones in the first treatment center that I went to. And I don't know if I've ever distinguished this or not, but I went to 2 different treatment centers that were ran under the same government. So, the first one, it was like a inpatient 30-day, you don't have your car, you don't have your phone, you are transported on a bus if you get those privileges type situation. And that is when I wrote If I Could Switch Bodies with You. Since I didn't have my phone, I just remembered it and sang it over and over. And the second I got my phone from migrating to the other treatment center. The second treatment center was like a more freedom-based treatment center. So I was in a sober living house with housemates instead of in like a cell is not the right word. Oh my goodness gracious. Shared 2-person bedroom. Anyway, the second treatment center I was at, I was in a sober living house with housemates, and we had our own house with our own yard that we had to take care of and different chores and stuff like that. And a fireplace, which was one of my favorite things because I had gotten into the habit of going to fires in the first treatment center because they had fireplaces all around the building, and I loved going to fires and having burn parties and stuff like that, and I'll explain more about that. But the second I got my phone, I recorded If I Could Switch Bodies with You. So this is the very first rough draft of If I Could Switch Bodies with You, fresh out the backyard of my sober living house. If I could switch bodies with you, I'd go to the doctor and the dentist too. I'd wake up every day, hit my knees and pray. I'd go to the kitchen and cook up some eggs. I'd shower in the morning and I'd exercise. Then I'd call up some friends and I'd socialize. Why, if I would do this for yours, why can't I do it for mine? Why do I love you so when I look into your eyes? But when I'm staring into mine, I don't feel the love. If I could switch bodies with you, I'd stop picking up that bottle of booze, and I'd stop breathing in that nicotine. Oh, I'd stop talking to myself so mean. I wouldn't let people talk down to me, and I'd stop hanging with bad company. Why, if I would do this for yours, why can't I do it for mine? Why do I love you so when I look into your eyes? But when I'm staring into mine, I don't feel the love. If I could switch bodies with you. I got accepted by my producer just before I went into that treatment center. I was literally like, thank you so much for accepting me. I got a situation. I gotta go. And he was so patient with me for a month of me disappearing, and yeah, I don't know. He's such a blessing. Oh, that was great. After I made that first rough draft, I sent that to my producer, and he got working on the backtrack. And a few weeks went by. First draft, second draft, whatever draft next, and if I could switch bodies with you. That's pretty much it for that day.